At least 3% of workers in 100 meat processing plants tested positive to coronavirus, according to a CDC study that's just last week. And it comes as the Secretary of Agriculture, Sonny Perdue, works with closed processing facilities to reopen, and that's to prevent a meat shortage.
Democratic candidate for Iowa's 4th congressional district, J.D. Scholten, has seen firsthand the impact that this crisis has had on the health and financial security of those working on the front lines of plants such as these. And he joins us now via Skype to tell us what is happening on the ground in Iowa. J.D., it's always great to see you.
Yeah, good to see you guys too.
Absolutely.
So unfortunately, your neck of the woods there in Sioux City, Iowa, has emerged as a real coronavirus hotspot. Just give us a little bit of a breakdown of what's happening.
Yeah, we have over 2,000 people who have tested positive with COVID-19 in Woodbury County and across the river in Dakota County, Nebraska. And it all stems from, or not all, but the majority of it all stems from the meat packing industry. Sioux City has been an immigrant meat packing town since the 1880s. And so it's something that is near and dear to a lot of our hearts. And to see this happen, it's pretty tough right now.
Mm-hmm. So, JD, let's talk about, this order in order to open up meat packing plants. Something you and I were discussing right before this is about how it sparked a broader conversation about why is the meat industry the way it is right now? What do you think that this has revealed about the meat and agricultural industry in your neck of the woods out there?
Well, I think it reveals how concentrated the industry really is. Last year, there was a fire in Kansas that disrupted the whole market. And when you have only 50 plants, beef plants, that control 98% of the meat that gets produced here in the U.S., it's such a small concentration. There's not much resiliency. There's not much flexibility or adaptability. And so there's a spotlight right now on our food systems. And if we're going to be a secure nation, we have to be a food secure nation. And so coming out of this, I'm hoping that we realize that we need change. And farmers, the other side of this that I don't think a lot of people are realizing, farmers who have actually been able to get their product to the market, because there's so many farmers right now that had to euthanize their livestock, which is just awful. But the farmers who have been able to make it to market, they're not getting a very fair price. And so farmers are just really getting squeezed on this too. So it's something where both the workers and the farmers are getting screwed.
Wow, that's unbelievable. And give us some insight into why these meat packing plants became such hotbeds for spread of the virus.
It's just the way they're set up. People work in very close proximities. And the Sioux City Journal actually had a really touching story about an immigrant who came here from the Philippines, worked in the Dakota City plant for 37 years, and just chasing that American dream. And he was one of the first people to pass from COVID-19 in this area. And it's just those stories you hear more and more, and it's just these hard people, grueling work. And Art Cullen, who's a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist here in the district, wrote a beautiful piece in calling these people packing house patriots, because they were going in when everyone else was able to stay home. They were going in doing the work, but what we saw was they didn't have the PPEs, they didn't have the protection they needed, and it's just a travesty.
Mm-hmm. JD, I think that it's such an important thing, and you're right, they are patriots. Senator Mitt Romney actually has released a plan in order to call essential workers in order to pay them $12 extra per hour. Is that something that we need to see in order to compensate these workers for putting themselves in harm's way in order to deliver us all the food that we need?
Well, we need to pay them a fair price. And what we saw, there's an article right before I launched a campaign last cycle that talked about this gentleman in Storm Lake, and Storm Lake's a meatpacking town in this district. And in the early 80s, he got hired for $16 an hour. They deunionized, and he retired a couple years ago at $16 an hour. Wow. And that's the reality of the district, like the 4th district, in these rural communities where we're talking about raising the minimum wage, and that's good, but a district like the 4th district, it's those $60,000, $70,000, and $80,000 jobs. Those are the game changers, and those are things we should be striving for on a lot greater basis.
Mm-hmm. And JD, what has the local reaction been to the order to reopen all of these plants?
Well, it's mixed, because you got farmers on one hand who, if they are allowed to get to the market, they're not getting a fair price, and then the other folks who have to euthanize their livestock, and it's just a bad situation all around. One of the things that we see because of the concentration and because of the monopolies and the power that these meatpacking plants have, if a farmer decides, or if all of a sudden the meatpacker decides that contract they can't process those hogs, well, then that farmer is screwed because they can't go to another place because they're under contract with that one place.
Right.
And that's all part of the power of these monopolies. We need to enforce our antitrust laws. And next year, which I hope to be my first year in Congress, will be the 100-year anniversary of the Packers and Stockyards Act. And we need to make sure that we're enforcing our laws, enforcing our antitrust laws, and really balancing, leveling the playing field, and letting these farmers allowed to stay on their land and make a dime.
Yeah, really, really good points there, JD. Thank you for joining us, breaking it down. It's really interesting and important point. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I encourage everybody to go follow you on Twitter, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, whether you live in the district or not, because you're an invaluable source of information on the ground about what the realities are. So people should go follow you. What's your Twitter handle, JD?
JD Schulten.
There he is.
Easy enough.
There, it's right there. It's right there on the screen.
Perfect. You guys are great.
Always great to see you, JD. Be well.
Pleasure. Thank you. You guys too.
Next up on